particularly if they're living together. So you know what? The enemy does not have a problem with you doing things the wrong way. He probably won't feel much pressure if you're doing it the way of the Word. But as soon as you try to do it the right way, you're going to feel a whole lot of pressure. And why is that? The enemy doesn't have to fight against you when you are working for him, when you're doing things his way. Why would he waste time trying to put pressure on you when you're doing it the way that he wants you to do it? You're walking with the enemy, but the moment you try to stop and go in the direction that God wants you to go, you will experience warfare. And if you're not ready for it, I had a conversation with the gentleman, and he said, you know what, I just resolved that I was just going to keep doing it the wrong way because doing it the right way was just too hard. I get what he was saying, but he lacked understanding because he was operating in his flesh. When you're dealing with spiritual warfare, you cannot be victorious in your flesh. Does that make sense? All right, let's move on. It says, put on the full armor of God. Why? So that you will be able to stand firm against the schemes of the devil. The idea of schemes, it has the idea of cleverness, crafty methods, cunning and deception. They're propagated through the world system. You got to know that the enemy knows what scheme is going to be most effective for you. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, my translation, New Living Translation says strategies. And that puts me in mind when I used to play the strategy games like Stratego or Battleship.
Right.
Several moves ahead of your opponent, they don't know what you're trying to do. And they're moving along thinking they're doing okay. You're setting a trap.
Amen. Amen. That's what he does. That's what he has mastered over the years. He's good at it. And when you think that you're going to play in casinos, most of the time, I would say, I don't know percentage-wise, but I would say at least 95% of the time, the house is going to win. It's set up that way. Years ago, we went to Las Vegas, and I can remember the entertainment of sitting outside of the casino, watching people come out and go in. You see people going in, and I've always been a people reader, and they just have a certain type of look on their faces when they're going in. It's a look of optimism. It's a look of I'm gonna win this time. And then if I sit there long enough, I will see that same person come out with the look on their face like, it didn't work. I can't believe I lost all of that money. And Satan just laughs. Yes, sir.
Last year, I went to see my in-laws in New Jersey. We went down to Atlantic City to casino. And it's the same thing. I went in, I just watched. I watched the people continue to put money into the slot machines, hoping and in many cases praying that they would win. I also went over to the blackjack table and saw a guy with a lot of money. And he was so excited. But you could see the look on his face. He says, I won, but I think I could win more. 45 minutes later, I went back to that same time. He had lost everything. And walked away second. And I said to myself, don't they see? But and yet a spiritual warfare. So when you're in the flesh, you just can't see.
Right.
You just can't.
Right. You know, I shared on Sunday, I asked my wife, I asked her, do you think that you can actually have an affair? Because for years, I've always told my wife, I said, listen, don't think. I know I'm all that. But don't think that there's not a Mr. Wonderful that'll come by and just dazzle you away. And she would always say stuff like, oh, you know, ain't nobody really thinking about me. And the reality is, Satan is thinking about me. You need to understand that. Satan is thinking about you. He is thinking, in fact, the conversation that he had with God, he says, what you been doing? Where are you going? He said, what? I've been walking to and fro, seeking whom I may devour. You got to know that the enemy is waiting to devour you. You got to know that. Listen, there's not a day that Satan is not looking for an opportune moment to devour you, to devour your character. If you're going to live, he would rather you live with a broken, wounded reputation. Yes, sir.
At nighttime, you sleeping.
Yeah, speak up, speak up.
At nighttime, you sleeping and meditating. At night, you sleeping. The enemy attacks at night. Why is that so? You sleep, your mind, when fear comes over you.
Yeah, I think not only does he attack at night, he attacks all the time, but I think particularly at night when you're weary and you're restless. I think when it comes to meditating and prayer, if you find that you're tired, you might want to pray standing up, walk and pray. Pray in an area where you don't if you have problems staying awake, don't go to bed and lay down and pray. And so I think part of his schemes is just knowing when you're tired and when you're weary and your attention is not you're not fully alert. He'll attack you then. You can be in church and you can be praying. You can just, anybody ever been in church and you praying and or somebody else is praying and you sleeping? Take you a nap. That's part of the schemes. You know, the schemes is it's much deeper than him trying to trick you. It can be bad doctrine. That's just, listen, if I make you think that, here's probably one of the worst things that Satan does is he makes non-saved people think that they're saved. That's a scheme of the devil. This is how in Matthew 7, there will be those who actually feel like they're in a right relationship with God. We'll say to them, I never knew you. They thought that they were in a right relationship with God based on the schemes of the devil. And my wife says every now and then, you forgot to give an invitation. Sometimes I do, sometimes I just don't give an invitation. Because if the Lord wants someone to be a member here and he's spoken to their heart, they'll be back. So I don't need to rush them. Go ahead and make them a member before they join somewhere else. Well, I don't want anybody here at Rising Star who's not called to be here. I don't. Because as soon as I say something or do something that they don't like, if they're here because of me or what I'm saying, when I say something that they don't like, I may or that we must put on the full armor of God so that we will be able to stand firm against the schemes of the devil. That's what the devil does. He has a multitude of different schemes to try to devour us. Okay? For our struggle. Yes, you got to get in mind. And hold it up, please.
Okay, when you talk about schemes, I think of other things like how could these also be schemes? Like I know that like we talk about a lot, like when we're like before we come to the sanctuary on Sunday, and we're so busy talking and we bring other stuff in, and we're talking about everything but what goes on. What we should be thinking about, as far as the Lord and getting prepared, to for church and everything like that. But could schemes be like the talking about football or talking about any things that happen that kind of like get us to just to talk or to not think about what we should be thinking about or praying, you know what I'm saying? When we're in church, like it takes us away from, it distracts us from what we're actually supposed to be about when we come into the sanctuary. And another thing that I noticed, even like in prayer time, like when they're doing like the scripture like prayer, it's very noisy, it's very, I don't know, it's like a lot of different things are going on and stuff. Even with that, I think that, and people, I think that he could use that time too, where people are just, it's like they're not interested. So you'll see people either stay out of the sanctuary, or sometimes when they're here in the sanctuary and you hear these guys that are speaking, you hear a lot of talking and it's just stuff going on. It's just so much stuff, but those could also be schemes because he's taken us away from
The scripture.
he's taken us away from what we're actually here for. We're about everything else, and we're not about what we're supposed to be here for in the first place. And stuff. So I think that those are also schemes, and they're very subtle.
Right.
And we don't realize it. But that, I mean, seriously,
Yeah, I get it. Anything that takes your focus off of Christ, His Word, anything that causes you to doubt what God is saying or to distract you from hearing what God is saying is a part of His scheme. Sometimes in charismatic circles, it is so emotional that the person speaking can say anything and people will just accept it without even thinking. That's the scheme of the devil, where you are driven by your emotion, and when you allow your emotion to overrule what God is saying in His Word.
and it's so amazing how we go walk into another church and we're so obedient to whatever their service is. We're like set up, we're ready. Whatever they have set up for their service, we go in there ready to hear the word, ready to accept whatever their program is. We go in there with a one-track mind, ready for whatever it is that what they're going to have. So we come in already almost disciplined as far as how we walk in from the get-go, walking through that door, but yet we walk into our own, and we're not.
Well, I think, why is that? Why is that? I think because we become so familiar and so comfortable.
Right.
There are times that maybe we need to put a sign out there saying, and I believe it's in Exodus, when God tells Moses to take off your shoes, for you are standing on holy ground. And so because it's fellowship, which is a part of growing in the body of Christ, but when you come into the presence of God, one of the schemes of the enemy is to just distract you. I mean, if you want to really worship God and experience Him in His fullness, you got to prepare. You have to prepare for His presence. And so often we take His presence for granted. We think that just